Welcome to the second video. So in the first video, I kind of went through a lot of different things, and I really hope, like again, that you're taking notes. This is going to be basically going kind of down the line of our little mini series here that Anishinaabe Kiken Mogiwan made for you guys. Um, so in this second video, I'm going to be asking, how did it come to be? Now, we can take a look at a whole bunch of different kinds of forms of spirituality, religions, and even scientific theories on how we all came to be here. Um, so let's take the scientific route at first. And I mean, it actually really meshes well a lot with Christianity. I know they tend to fight a lot, and for the life of me, I don't understand why. Because of the fact that they're saying pretty much the same. They're both talking about apples. One's talking about Granny Smith, and the other one's talking about Red Delicious. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But let's take the Big Bang Theory. How, somehow that there was this massive energy that just manifested and just all of a sudden imploded, then exploded, and then it slowly started to expand outwards, and that's what our universe is. And then all these different things, we started to evolve. And science, obviously, we haven't proven. You know what? I don't want to get into that, but we haven't proven yet that there is other life. We haven't seen it yet. I personally think that if the Big Bang did happen, obviously it's not going to be random of one tiny little insignificant planet that is so on the far side of here, that's the only life that's out there. And then we can start getting into discussions of that. We are carbon-based um, beings, but what about something that's methane-based or something that's carbon, just there's so many different possibilities out there that, somebody made out of diamond, we don't know. So at the end of the day, though, for indigenous people, we have our own version of the Big Bang Theory. Not the TV show, but the actual Big Bang Theory. But it was in four directions. And basically what happened was that the first thought that creator had was in the direction of the east, then the south, then the west, then the north. Now I'm going to be only touching a little bit of that because that's actually something that I'd like to share later on. But so basically the four directions that creator or Gechemanitu, Gejemanitu, or the great mystery, basically the first four thoughts. And then we could look at the Bible. In the beginning there was all void. There was nothing. Blackness, darkness. Isn't that the exact same? It might be said differently in a different language. It's not like, all of a sudden this gaseous state started to, and then there was this big kaboom. In the Bible, it literally says there was void, nothing, darkness, and then God said, let there be light, and there was. What happens when you see an explosion? Is there not a big amount of light? We could look at different forms of spirituality in regards to universal laws and to natural laws and to all these different things. So some of the different arguments that I've heard, especially from Christians versus scientists, is that science says, well, your Bible is wrong because we can carbon date back to some of these fossils as a few million years. So that actually takes away the theory that in your book it says that we've been here for 6,000 years. And then we have people saying, you know what, anything that you say that goes against this book, you're going to burn in a big lake of fire. So there's a lot of There's a lot of things, and if this is triggering you at home, that's actually a good thing. Write that down. Take notes of some of the things that I'm sharing with you. Why is that happening? But anyway, Anishinaabe people, we have our own theory as well too. We believe that both are right. And it's like, well, how does that work? If one, we're saying that the Earth formed of gases and different asteroids and all that other stuff, and it just naturally happened, and there was this slimy goop that came, and then all of a sudden it started to boil, and out pop a little, tadpole, and then turn into a frog, and we evolved from that. Then okay. But how is it the same if God created the Earth in 6 days and rested on the seventh? Because us Anishinaabe people, we like to think very differently. We bring it back down to the basics. Now, I want you guys to think about an ant. Yes, I don't mean your auntie. I mean like an ant. Little, comes and a little worker ant bringing the big leaves over to the queen. And I want you to think about your own life. Now, in your own life, you can be from, watching this from age 14, lower, however, if this appeals to you at that age, to 75 years old and up. So at any age, you can be interested in this course right now. So when you look at your life on how long it is, from your childhood to your adolescence, to your young adulthood, to your adulthood, to your older adulthood, to young elder, to your elder, to, older elder, and all that, grand elder, it's a long life. It's a very long life. I want you to take that and think about it in an ant's perspective. Because to us, that ant only lives for 24 hours. That's it. One day. To us, that's like, oh, that's a short life. What could you do in 24 hours? But to the ant's perspective, that's a full life. That's a baby, that's a toddler, that's a child, that's, and all the same thing. That's a full life. I wonder if we think of a million years as such a long time, but to something bigger, to something more grand, that's only a day or an hour. So if science is correct in saying that Earth is 4 eons and all of this is all 4 eons, then how long is one day to God? How long is one day to Creator? Because if Creator created the Earth in 6 days and rested for the seventh, what if He, an indigenous perspective, or she, is still resting? I want you guys to think about that. I want you guys to think about what I just said. To an ant's full life is a day for us. To a human's full life would be what? To God or Creator. To higher power, to universe, whatever wording that you use. Some people that are going to be watching this are going to say Jesus. Some people are going to be watching this say Buddha. Some people will say Allah. Some people, whatever language that you use. And this is the indigenous perspective, is that all forms of spirituality and religions and beliefs, if it teaches good and it makes you into a better human being, they all bring us to the same Creator. So in this video, how did it come to be? Well, like I said, the Big Bang Theory is basically what we had as well too. That that there was a big light in the center of all this darkness, and the first thought was in the east, south, west, north, so on and so forth. And like I said, I'm going to get more into that into a further on video, but this story that I'm going to tell you actually really, and I'm just going to speak the way that I normally speak, but it really pissed me off when I first heard it. And my teacher, who was the most gentle woman that you could ever meet, and the most beautiful person that I have ever met, she lived to be 107 years old. No birth certificate, no status card, no nothing. She lived off the land. She was untouched by Western society. She was untainted. And I use that word because of the fact that there are a lot of knowledge keepers and a lot of elders here that teach a very watered down version of what we used to know. I say that with the utmost respect for them. I say that with humility. A lot of the things that I hear people teach, sometimes it hurts me. But that's neither here or there. How did we come to be? In the good place, in the Minnapumatsu, and in the Gagige place, meaning forever place, the good place. Some people identify it as heaven, while European Canadians and European Americans before thought of it as Valhalla, while Africa, just so many different words out there that mean the same thing of everlasting life, or a freeing of mind, so to speak, or being able to go into a higher place of existence. We came from that before we were born. Before we were born, we came from that. Now, for all the moms, all the dads, all the grandparents, all the people that have nephews and nieces and have seen friends that have, kids, I want you to write down this question in your book. Have you ever seen a newborn baby cry? And if you have, write, or just put a check mark. And if you haven't, put an X. Even if it's on TV, even if it's, like a commercial of this newborn baby coming out and it's all in the goop and just crying away. How many of you think that when we're first born that we cry? Put a yes or no, put a check mark or an X. And this is obviously for your own learning, but yeah, put a check mark or an X. Now that you've done that, I want you guys to know that this, again, isn't for you to be triggered, but it's basically how we identify. So when we're up in the good place in heaven and all those other different wordings that people use, we look down and we say, I want that person to be my mom, and I want that person to be my dad. Then they meet, that doorway is opened. When I tell this to people, especially the people that I work with, they get upset, just as like how I got upset when I first heard this. Be like, what do you mean I was the one that chose my mom and dad? My mom and my dad left me. They left me with somebody who used to beat on me, who butt out cigarette butts out on my back when I was 2 years old, 3 years old. Why would I choose that? I chose that. I was the one that chose this life. Just like you at home were the one that chose your life. There's this one thing that I'm not sure if you guys know who Gary Vee is. He's such an awesome person. He's so cool. He speaks more on the entrepreneurship as opposed to, forms of spirituality or anything like that. But there's this video that I saw that I really like, and I got to give him credit because it makes a lot of sense, is that you being here, you already beat all the odds. And what he says is that there's literally trillions of other sperm that are fighting to get to that egg. But you were the one. You were the one that won that race. You were the one that swam as fast as you could to try to get to that egg. Why are you wasting that? When I first heard that, I'm like, you know what? That is amazing. That's such a good way of being able to see life. That's truly beautiful. And he's right, 100% right. That's all his, not mine. That's all his. Thank you, Gary Vee. But we're the ones that chose who our mom and dads are. We're the ones that chose our life. We already knew it. So when we think about that, when we have trauma happen to us, or when bad things happen to us, things that are out of our control, things that were in our control, but sometimes we tend to go outwards and project what we've done onto other people, be like, it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault that I'm this, and it's your, and all that. But when you point your finger at somebody, and this is very rude, but when you point your finger at somebody, how many more is pointing back at you? Sorry, I burnt my finger. How many more is pointing back at you? 3 more is pointing back at you. So it's very good to have that mindset of that you were the one that chose this life. You were the one that when you were up in the good place that you looked down and said, I want to do that. That's my story. So then you come traveling down. And then when that seed is planted, and then you start to grow and you start to come out and you grow out of the spiritual realm. You grow out of it. And then finally, when you see the end of the tunnel, and then you open up and then you start to come out. Your mom gives birth to you. Your mom. That's why Native people before pre-contact, we truly respected women. We truly honored women because we saw them as co-creators. Have you guys ever heard that word before? Co-creators? We saw you as life bringers, the ones that brought life. So with that very special ability to give life, to carry that water, we lived in a matriarchal society. Now, a lot of people who are very ignorant to some of the history that happened are like, well, I saw some native guy one time, beat up his girlfriend. You're right. Where did we learn that from? Our history. What has happened to us? The Eurocentric attitude that we have adopted. And I'm not being racist. I'm being real with you. If you're getting upset, good. Because then it means that you're listening to me. I really hope you continue because it's all going to come together. So, when I asked you if you've ever seen a newborn baby cry, the reason why I asked you that was because of the fact that I haven't. And I've assisted women in giving birth. I've been there. I was the one to do the catch, so to speak. And one of the things that I see is that the baby, newborn baby, just came here on Mother Earth. New life. Such a beautiful thing to watch, be a part of, to see. Is going, as soon as that smack on the bum, I don't know if they do that anymore, but the shake and all that to get them. Animals and human beings, naturally, you need tears. to be crying. Whether if you're in pain, whether if you're emotional, whether if you need tears to cry. Next time you have a baby, next time you see a newborn baby, next time you have your niece or nephew or grandson, granddaughter, or anything like that, or even a movie, when you see a newborn baby cry, see if there's any tears. Guaranteed there's not going to be one tear falling from that cheek, from that eye, down to the cheek. And that's because baby's not crying. What baby is doing is saying, and just saying hello to Mother Earth, saying hello to all the physical realm, this new understanding, this new experience, the human experience. There's a quote that I really like. It says that we're not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spirits having a human being experience. And that's true. So when I first came, I was saying, hello, my name is One Who Hides a White Heart. I come from the Polar Bear clan. The other name that carries me is Polar Bear. This is my story. This is my song. These are my colors. These are all the things I'm going to do with my life. This is who I am, Mother Earth, and all of the creation around here. It's a beautiful thing. And we're screaming it out loud because we're proud of it. It doesn't matter if you are Red Nation, Yellow Nation, Black Nation, or White Nation. Now, a lot of people, my own people, disagree that I share this with other nations. That's not our way. Our ways is for us to be able to treat everybody with the same respect, with the same love. Our stories might sound a little bit different, but at the end of the day, remember when I say go to basics? It's basically the same. So when you chose your life, whatever you're going through right now, that's a part of your life. That's a part of what you decided. I know that's hard to hear, and I know that's something that's, you're probably giving the finger to the screen right now, and, like, who would choose that? For some of the women watching, if you have been assaulted sexually, why would I choose that? I'm going to tell you a story. There was this girl back in the 70s, beautiful young lady, decided to go over to college to continue doing all the things that she wanted to. Raised from a good family, different things like that, just had many friends, had, a lot of dreams and different aspirations on, what she wanted to become. Very inspiring person, loved music, all these different things, but just loved art. Used to draw, used to doodle all the time, used to, even while she was listening to the professor give lectures, she's kind of doodling because that's the way that she's able to retain information. One night on campus, she was late studying. She was going back to her dorm. And unfortunately, she got attacked. She was assaulted. Sexually assaulted. When she was found, all the people were horrified and they helped her. Took her to the hospital. And when she woke up in the hospital, she just cried. She was just so, how could this happen to me? What did I do to deserve this? She switched majors, went, and she was resilient. She got through it. She told her story. She went from being a victim to being a survivor and then becoming a warrior because she shared her story. This one day, it all came back to her. Remember that spiraling that I was talking about? It all came back. So she decided to paint this abstract stuff all over the canvas. Just angry, putting all that stuff, just getting rid of it. She took it over to a dealership. They kind of said, yeah, we'll take it. And if we sell it, we'll give you a commission. She felt, I got rid of it. She felt she was happy with herself. It circulated over the decades, went to different shops and different kinds of things, and then finally just ended up at a thrift store. Now the year is 2020. And this young girl, she's going to university. She goes and she's doing her studying, and she's looking up on her social media saying, hey, I'll be back taking selfies with friends, all those different good things. She decides to listen to her music, listens, and she's walking outside the university. Very dark. She got attacked. She woke up in the hospital, same thing. A group of people found her, helped her, took her to the hospital. She cried, wept. How could this happen to me? She got resilient. She was strong. So one day she's walking. She continues walking, and she goes over to a thrift store, and she's looking, and she's kind of window shopping a little bit. And then she sees this painting. And she looks at it. And she smiles. And she says, I know exactly how that person was feeling. And she went and bought it for $5. The things that happen to us in life, we don't know how far that goes. The only thing that we are in control of is how we deal with it, how we act. I was once asked, because my biological mother now lives with me in my basement, rent-free. Sometimes I get asked, Daniel, when she abandoned you and you were abused severely and sexually molested and all these different things, like, why do you forgive her? Why are you doing what you're doing for her? And my answer is this. It's not how bad or good my mother is, but how good of a son I am. When you start changing your mind into that indigenous worldview, you know that there are two stones in each hand. The one that makes you look strong, feel strong, and gives that kind of a bang to it. Or the one closest to your heart, the one most loving. The good stone, the bad stone. We don't know how far those ripples will go. We don't know if that we throw a bad stone, how many people that's going to affect. Or the opposite, when we give that good stone, how far those ripples in that water is going to go. Let me give you another example. You're driving down the street. Some guy's kind of really going behind you and just goes in front of you, and you kind of swerve and like, whoa, that guy almost hit me. And then finally he stops at a red light and you stop at a red light. You have two options. Two options is, what do you think you're doing? Or, holy man, you're going pretty fast there, man. Like, sorry I got in your way. I guess I'm just a slow driver. Hope you have a good day, bud. Hope you have a good day, sir. Such a small thing for us. Insignificant, really, for our life. It could be the world of difference for other people. What if that guy that was driving all fast behind you was driving home to commit suicide? What if our final bird flip and F you and all that other stuff was like, that's right, that's why I'm doing this, and we help that? A lot of people sometimes ask me and say, yeah, but that's not my fault. Okay. Then this course isn't for you if that's your attitude. Because people who sit by and do nothing are just as much to blame as the people that are doing stuff. That's the indigenous way. So if you did the opposite, hey man, you're going a little fast. Sorry about that. I'm a slow driver, man. How's your day? What if that guy was to say, wow, somebody saw me. Somebody knows that I'm here. Somebody sees me. I'm not invisible to this world. I am somebody. And they go home and don't do anything. What if that man found a partner after that, had a family after that? Those children became people, and we don't know how far those ripples go. Every single day. Actually, I'm going to quote a movie. I love Kung Fu Panda. I'm not sure if you guys know Kung Fu Panda, but there's this old turtle and he says, the past is the past. The future is a future. And the present is something along these lines. Present is the present. That's why it's a gift. I probably messed that up, but I still love the quote regardless. It's such a beautiful moment in that movie. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how, some people that say, well, that's not my fault if they go home. Like, what was I supposed to do? You're supposed to be human. Especially with this whole thing that's happening. They're trying to take our humanity today. How wrong is it to check in with somebody? Is everything okay with you? Sometimes, out of all my years of counseling people, that's the only thing that I've asked. Is everything okay? And they break down. There's nothing wrong with you being a human being. And that's our indigenous perspective. Is that at the end of the day, I could talk about how I have a master's degree. I could talk about how I am the executive director and founder of AG. I can say I am the president of a construction company, and I can try to do all I can even say I'm one of the last indigenous knowledge keepers of Kenya. At the end of the day, I'm just a human being listening to another human being. That's how we bring humility into our lives. That's how we stay humble. That's how we continue learning, by just being human. I hope you got a little bit of value out of this video today, and I'll be sure to see you at the next.